Okay guys, this video is going to be toting a firearm on a motorcycle. Now, just so you know, every firearm I'm fixing to show you has been checked for safety, and I'll probably post a picture of it later on with them being checked for safety, I don't know. But a lot of people are wondering the legalities of toting a firearm and how to do it to where it's still easily accessible. So I'm going to kind of go into that just a little bit because, I do have firearms training and I am a competition pistol shooter, and, some of you have seen my earlier firearm reviews in my earlier channels, but, we're going to delve into a little bit here today. Now, the main thing whenever you're toting a firearm is you have to keep it somewhere where it's easily accessible if it's your defense weapon, and, you can always keep it on a holster at your side if you have your your carry permit. Now, whenever you're, like in this state, if you're on any vehicle, in your car, on your bike, or whatever, your vehicle is an extension of your home, so you do not have to have a permit. In some states, they have laws to where you have to have the ammunition in a completely different location than the firearm, and which I think is fucking retarded, but I'll go into that in a later video. And, you just always want to check your local laws and stuff like that before you actually go into having a concealed weapon on your motorcycle. But there's two different ways I do it. As you can see right here, I have this small rapid transit fork bag, which I got from Toast to Go here a few months ago. And I have this little Diamond Plate brand magnetic tank bag that I got from my mom for Christmas. And I'm just going to show you, how to tote a larger firearm and tote a smaller firearm. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I do not have a Glock 17 in either of these bags because I got rid of it to get a Honda Shadow that I ended up trying to fix up and ended up selling. And that's how I got this drift in my helmet right now. But, here we're going to go. Okay, first thing foremost, if you ever have to use a firearm in a defensive situation on a bike, you're more than likely, you're going to be stopped. Just like this. So, you got to make it easily accessible. So the first way I'm going to show you is a small tank bag, or small fork bag right here in your forks. And in this one I have my Sky CPX-1 9mm. Now this is a nice little firearm that I gave my wife, and it has 10-in-1 capacity, and it's double action only, and really small pocket pistol, which is great. And plus it was made in Daytona, Florida, which is, hell, can't hate that at all. But, whenever I tote it, I usually have it about like that, so that if I ever have to, it's unzip, and there it is. Just like that. And, whenever you're toting whenever you're carrying a firearm on a bike, usually smaller is better because, you're going to have it in a very small bag or something like that. You could tote in your saddlebags, but it'll take longer to get to. So that's why I just keep them in one of these bags. And, you got to think, get to it the quickest way possible, and all that jazz. But another thing you need to think of is what you do with it whenever you're not on the bike and you cannot tote it. Well, I usually don't tote a firearm if I know I'm going to be getting off the bike and going, like to Walmart or something, and going to some kind of store where I'm going to be there for about an hour or two. Because, saddlebags, people can cut them. These bags, they can walk off with them. But if you have like a hard bag or something, I would say whenever you get to your destination, just take your bag completely off. Don't take it out and then put it in your hard saddle bag. Just take this bag completely off so that nobody knows what's in here, because that's the last thing you want is anybody to know you have a firearm. But easily accessible, with this bag, unzip it, grab it, and there it is. And I know I grabbed that wrong, but just for demonstration purposes. And if you have a larger firearm, That's why I got this bag right here. And I have in here my High Point JCP 40 caliber. And you may notice that with all of my bags, I have the firearm pointed to where most likely if it goes off it will not harm me. Right now with the sky, the barrel is pointing towards my mirror, and keep my hands right here, so it is a close call. All it has to do is shift like that, and if it fires, it's gonna maybe do some damage, but I keep them, real tight and stuff to where they cannot harm me. Now this one, I always keep pointed straight forward, so if it goes off, it's gonna fuck up my gauges and shit, and then shrapnel might hit me, but that's, a risk you take sometimes on a firearm, whenever you're toting a firearm. So just keep it somewhere where, always have the direction of the muzzle on your mind whenever you're toting a firearm, and it's no different on a motorcycle. Just keep it somewhere where it's not pointed directly at you. Now with this bag, if you want to get to it, it's a whole lot quicker. So I do like this bag whenever I'm toting a larger firearm like the High Point. But with the magnetic bag, you also got to take into consideration, these things do have a tendency to slide sometimes. So I have this right here is a strap that hooks right here on my bag, or right here on my bag, to where if it does start sliding, it's not going to fall off my bike. And, like I said, that's something you do have to take into consideration whenever you're toting a firearm on a bike. But basically, if you're going to tote a firearm on your bike, first of all, make sure you have the ability, check your local laws, make sure that, like as with any time you're carrying a defensive weapon, make sure that you have the necessary frame of mind to know that if you pull a weapon, don't pull unless it's more than likely you're going to use it. Because, you don't pull a gun just to scare somebody. You don't pull a firearm unless it's absolutely necessary, and that's the last option you have. So more than likely, whenever you pull that weapon, you will be firing it. And you have to know that you have the capabilities and the right frame of mind to know that you can still live with yourself after the shot's fired. I've had many people want me to train them in defensive firearms, and that's the first thing I ask them is what will you do if you do have to pull the trigger? And I've had some of them say, well, I don't want to kill nobody, I just want to, they either say they want to just scare them or shoot them in the leg or something. Well, you're not gonna pull a firearm to scare somebody, because if you put that in a police report, you more than likely will be going to jail. Because that's not the reason you pull a firearm. If somebody just comes at you, with, nothing in their hands and stays 10 or 15 feet back, and you have an opportunity to leave the situation, you have to leave it. You cannot just pull your firearm, just because you have it. And and if you shoot them in the leg, then that is a very, very, very bad thing to do, because you're using deadly force. That's something you always have to remember. A firearm is deadly force. And if you make a conscious effort to shoot them in the leg, some departments will say that you improperly use your firearm. So, if I ever have to tote my firearm, I am willing to take another human being's life to save my own, if the situation calls for it. So, I'm not saying every time you pull your weapon, fire. I'm saying if you have to fire, do whatever you have to do to stop the threat. Don't keep on shooting them until they're dead. Stop the threat. If you pull it, they back up, run away, this, that, or the other, the threat is no longer there. If you pull it, and they're still coming at you with another firearm, and you fire, they hit the ground, the threat is stopped. What I would do then at that point is put my weapon up, leave the situation. I'm not saying flee, I'm saying leave that situation. If they still have their gun or whatever, then, I wouldn't do this personally, because I do have a whole lot of other type of training. But, and don't take my advice completely, because I am not a professional. You have to, well, I am a professional, but I'm not a professional instructor. So you would have to talk to them and this, that, and the other. But what I would do is I would, get a block of wire or something, head to a gas station, call the cops, let them know what happened, tell them everything and all that jazz. But, personally, I would, stay and, you know, help out the guy I just shot if I could, if that was an option. And I would just call an ambulance, call the police, from the scene, so they can't say I fled. But not everybody can do that. So that's just a little bit of toting a firearm on a bike. And if y'all have any other questions, just go ahead and ask me. I'll be more than happy to help. And I'll probably make another video of this later on. So that's Glock 17 here signing out. Remind y'all, ride safe.